Caitlin Clark exercise video that is having me scratch my head.
The internet exploded after a leaked video showed Caitlin Clark practicing behind closed doors, sparking instant chaos across the WNBA. What should have been a simple clip of her shooting turned into a full-blown controversy, with league insiders scrambling to control the narrative.
So I'm not sure when this video was filmed. So this is Caitlin Clark shooting around at Cambridge. Now, I'm pretty sure this video is probably not that old.
Fans immediately noticed something off in her form, and the Fever's silence only made things worse. Now, reports suggest the WNBA is furious about the leak, calling it a breach of privacy. But the real question remains, what was the league trying so hard to hide from everyone?
And I want you guys to pay close attention to Caitlin Clark shooting. Now, this was Caitlin Clark shooting a mid-range shot. To me, it looked like her release, her shot is off.
It started like any other late-night scroll through social media. A few grainy clips surfaced showing Caitlin Clark inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, casually working on her mid-range game. Within minutes, the video spread across X, TikTok, and Instagram, catching fire faster than the WNBA could react. At first glance, it looked harmless, a superstar rehabbing and getting shots up. But for anyone who's followed Caitlin since her Iowa days, something felt different.
Now, this is Caitlin Clark back at Iowa. Same type of shot, same type of deal. Watch this. These are mid-range shots, guys. See that? There's a big difference in the way Caitlin Clark is shooting the basketball.
Her shot didn't have that same effortless rhythm, the smooth rise and snap that defined her college dominance. Instead, her release looked tight, her movement slightly stiff. Like a player holding back or favoring one side, the internet noticed immediately. Analysts began replaying the clip frame by frame, comparing it to her old Iowa footage. Fans pointed out that her balance seemed off, that she wasn't following through naturally. Even casual viewers could see something had changed. And that's when the narrative shifted. This wasn't just a practice leak. This was a revelation about her recovery.
Everything is smooth, flow like water, guys. See that? Her release. Now let's go back to this right here. Watch this. It's not the same shot. Now, I don't want y'all to say I'm being a hater, bro. But I just want y'all to know I'm the first one speaking about this, bro.
People began to wonder whether the Fever were rushing her back too soon or mishandling her rehabilitation altogether. Every detail was dissected, from the type of shoes she wore to how she landed after each jumper. The Fever organization, meanwhile, stayed completely silent. No confirmation, no statement, nothing. That silence only fueled speculation. Why wasn't this clip meant to be seen? Was it recorded by someone close to the team? Or was it intentionally leaked to test public reaction?
To me, things are not going right with the Indiana Fever organization with Caitlin Clark rehabilitation. For them to block Chris Brinkley to come there, sending her out there, it's almost like they want her to stay in Indy, which I get it, but I want Iowa Caitlin. And I feel like Caitlin Clark need to go back to what got us here, bro.
As hours passed, the WNBA's response was described by insiders as tense, with some suggesting the league wanted the footage removed altogether. But by that point, it was too late. Millions had already seen it, and for the first time, the public got an unfiltered look at Caitlin Clark's condition and possibly the Indiana Fever's biggest mistake yet. Something's
very off with Caitlin's shot, man. And that's all I'm going to say, dog. I'm not going to go into it too deep. I just want y'all to know I'm paying attention. I really wanted to bring you guys' attention to Caitlin Clark thing because I feel like she need to go back to Iowa, bro. She need to go back to Iowa for her rehabilitation.
The moment fans compared Caitlin Clark's leaked footage to her Iowa highlights, the internet turned into a courtroom. Every angle, every frame, every flick of her wrist was placed under a microscope. The Caitlin Clark from Iowa was a machine, her movement precise, her rhythm natural, and her confidence untouchable. She had that signature fluidity, a perfect balance between power and grace. But the Caitlin seen in the leaked practice video looked hesitant. Her elevation seemed lower, her landing uneven, and her wrist snapped. The iconic water-like RELEASE appeared slightly delayed. Side-by-side comparisons, flooded timelines, sports channels and fan pages posted slow-motion breakdowns showing her new mechanics. Trainers online began commenting, pointing out how her posture suggested lingering discomfort, possibly tied to her groin or ankle recovery. What caught many off guard wasn't just the visual difference, but the emotional one. Caitlin looked like a player overthinking every movement, not the fearless competitor who once pulled up from the logo without blinking. The difference was impossible to ignore, and it quickly raised red flags across the fanbase. Debates erupted about whether the E-Fever had adjusted her mechanics intentionally or if her body was compensating for pain. Some argued it was just rust from her rehab break, while others accused the team of mishandling her recovery altogether. Fans recalled earlier comments from Stephanie White, who mentioned Caitlin's mechanics as an ongoing concern, fueling the theory that something had gone wrong behind the scenes. As the video continued spreading, one theme echoed through every comment section. This wasn't the same Caitlin Clark. Something was off, and what started as concern quickly evolved into outrage. Supporters demanded transparency, asking why the Fever had been so secretive about her rehab process. The silence from the organization only deepened the suspicion, and fans began wondering whether they were seeing the first real signs of a star being stifled by her own team. As the video racked up millions of views, panic reportedly rippled through WNBA offices. What should have been a harmless practice clip had spiraled into a full-blown PR nightmare. Sources close to the league hinted that executives were furious about how quickly the footage spread. The term breach of privacy began circulating internally, and whispers suggested that league officials were investigating how the video escaped the walls of Gainbridge Fieldhouse in the first place. Within hours, reports claimed that both the Indiana Fever and WNBA media staff had been ordered to clamp down on any further leaks. Staff members were allegedly told to keep phones off during private team sessions. Even practice access for local reporters was temporarily restricted. Raising questions about what exactly the league was trying to hide, fans couldn't help but notice the irony. The WNBA often struggles for exposure. Yet, when one of its biggest stars accidentally goes viral, the league rushes to bury the footage. The overreaction only made things worse. Instead of calming the controversy, it amplified it. Sports commentators began criticizing the WNBA's response, calling it tone-deaf and defensive. Many argued that a simple explanation or medical update could have diffused everything. Instead, the silence looked suspicious, as if there was something they didn't want fans to see. Online discussions shifted from Caitlin's shooting mechanics to the league's transparency problem. Players from around the league started quietly liking and reposting the video, a subtle but noticeable show of curiosity, maybe even defiance. Some insiders suggested that the WNBA's anger wasn't about the footage itself, but about losing control of the Caitlin Clark narrative. The league had been carefully managing her image since day one, balancing her meteoric rise with locker room tensions and media politics. But this leak cracked that control wide open. For the first time, fans saw Caitlin in an unfiltered moment. No PR team, no media spin, and that's exactly what the WNBA couldn't stand. After the leak, the Indiana Fever's decision to stay completely silent only made the storm more explosive. No statement from the coaching staff, no update from team doctors, and no reassurance from management. The official social media pages carried on as if nothing had happened. Posting random promotional clips and ignoring the elephant in the room. Fans flooded the comments, demanding answers. The longer the team ignored the situation, the louder the outrage grew. People wanted clarity. Was Caitlin Clark fully healthy? Was she even cleared for high-intensity training? And why was a player of her stature practicing in what looked like an empty, dimly lit gym without media supervision? The Fever's silence gave the impression that something was being hidden. Even national outlets began to question why no one from the organization would address what had clearly become a viral controversy. Instead of defending their star, the Fever seemed to retreat behind closed doors. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed that the team was internally divided. Some believed they should issue a calm statement acknowledging the video, while others feared that admitting it was real would open the door to further scrutiny. The WNBA reportedly advised the Fever to let it die down, but that strategy backfired spectacularly. The lack of transparency only validated the suspicions fans already had that Caitlin's recovery wasn't going as smoothly as they'd claimed. The tension became impossible to ignore. Sports commentators accused the Fever of mismanaging one of the most valuable athletes in women's basketball. Podcasts began dissecting the power struggle between Caitlin's personal training circle and the organization's control over her rehab. And through it all, Caitlin herself stayed silent. No tweets, no interviews, nothing. That silence spoke volumes. It left the world wondering if she even had a say in her own recovery process, or if the Fever were making all the decisions for her. While Caitlin Clark's leaked video turned the internet upside down. Another WNBA star was earning praise for how she handled her own injury, Ari McDonald. Around the same time, Ari began posting open, honest updates about her recovery from a Jones fracture. She walked fans through every step: the surgery, the screw placement, the cast, the walking boot, and the painful process of learning to move again. Her transparency built trust. Fans appreciated that she wasn't hiding behind PR filters or scripted statements. She showed her vulnerability, and in doing so, strengthened her bond with supporters. The contrast couldn't be clearer. Caitlin's situation was wrapped in secrecy, with fans left to guess about her progress. No official reports, no behind-the-scenes footage, no interviews. Just a mysterious leak and endless speculation. Many started to question why the league's most marketable player was being kept in the shadows. If Ari McDonald could document her journey so freely, why couldn't Caitlin? That question became a rallying cry across social media. Analysts began pointing out how the WNBA's approach to star management often backfires. Instead of letting players be authentic, the league tends to over-control narratives. The result? Distrust. Fans want connection, not polished silence. And when it comes to Caitlin Clark, a player who built her brand on raw emotion and visible passion, that disconnect feels even sharper. Podcasters and journalists weighed in, saying the WNBA missed a massive opportunity. They could have used Caitlin's rehab story as a moment of inspiration, showing her resilience and dedication to recovery. Instead, their secrecy created suspicion and made the public think something was wrong. Ari's openness highlighted exactly what the Fever and the league lacked: transparency, accountability, and humanity. By staying silent, the Fever might have thought they were protecting Caitlin, but to fans, it looked like control. And that silence, more than any video leak, became the loudest message of all. Once the Fever and WNBA refused to comment, fans took matters into their own hands. Online forums, Reddit threads, and YouTube breakdowns turned into investigative zones. Every frame of the leaked video was re-examined. Fans noticed how the lighting in the gym didn't match any known practice footage, suggesting it wasn't an official team session. Others pointed out that her training gear didn't feature any Fever branding, leading to speculation that this might have been a private workout she wasn't supposed to be having. Theories spread like wildfire, and each one was more explosive than the last. One theory claimed that the Fever purposely blocked Caitlin from working with her preferred trainer, Chris Brickley, out of fear that he'd expose how poorly her rehab was being handled. Another suggested that the team was intentionally keeping her training quiet to control how much the public saw of her physical limitations. Some fans went even further, claiming that the WNBA itself was enforcing tight restrictions to protect its image ahead of the new season. Podcasts began featuring insiders who hinted that Caitlin's camp was growing. Frustrated with the lack of freedom in her rehab process, words like control and restriction became the buzz of the week. People speculated that the league feared another public injury or embarrassing storyline that could overshadow its image. But by trying to contain the story, they made it 10 times bigger. Even basketball analysts joined in. Some defended the Fever, saying the organization was simply being cautious and protecting Caitlyn's privacy. Others argued that if the team had nothing to hide, they wouldn't be acting so defensively. The more the league tried to erase the clip from online platforms, the more people saved and reposted it. It was the perfect storm, a secret practice, a viral leak, and a fan base that refused to be silenced by the end of the week. One thing was clear. What started as a small video leak had turned into a full-on movement for transparency. Fans didn't just want answers, they demanded accountability. While the league and the Fever scrambled to contain the damage, the person at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, remained completely silent. Not a single statement, interview, or clarification. For someone who once thrived in front of cameras, her quietness spoke louder than any press release. Insiders described her demeanor as focused, but distant, suggesting that the ongoing controversy had taken an emotional toll. She's used to being the face of every highlight reel, not the subject of a PR cover-up. Now, it seemed like the spotlight she once controlled was controlling her. People who've followed Caitlyn since her college days know how fiercely independent she is. At Iowa, she had full control over her training, her rhythm, and even how she interacted with fans. Everything felt authentic. No filters, no spin. But in the WNBA, that independence appears to have vanished. The constant speculation about her health, the overprotective handling by the Fever, and the viral attention from the leaked clip created a perfect storm of pressure. Even the smallest movement on camera was now being interpreted, analyzed, and judged. Close friends and teammates have hinted that she's been frustrated by how restricted she feels. Some say she wants to train the way she used to, while others believe she's simply trying to stay professional and avoid drama. Either way, the weight of the situation is visible. She's fighting not just to get healthy, but to reclaim her confidence, the very thing that made her a superstar in the first place. To fans, Caitlyn's silence feels like heartbreak. They see a young athlete caught between recovery and reputation, trying to navigate a league that seems unsure how to handle her magnitude. And deep down, many believe this moment could define her career. Not just how she plays, but how she fights back when the game isn't just on the court anymore. The WNBA's overreaction to Caitlin Clark's leaked footage didn't just expose one isolated incident, it revealed a deeper issue the league has been struggling with for years. Control. The league has long tried to manage narratives instead of letting players shape their own stories. And when the biggest star in women's basketball has her private training footage leaked, that obsession with control becomes impossible to ignore. Rather than embracing the attention or clarifying the situation, the WNBA and the Fever's response only highlighted how uncomfortable they are when players' authenticity slips through their fingers. Fans weren't just angry about the video, they were angry about the silence. They felt like they were being treated as outsiders, denied transparency about the very player who's carried the league's visibility to new heights. That disconnect between the league and its audience has been a long-standing problem. Caitlyn's viral moments have brought millions of new eyes to the WNBA, yet the league continues to micromanage her image, fearing that her stardom might overshadow its institutions. Ironically, those efforts only make the organization look weaker and more insecure. Sports media outlets began drawing comparisons to the NBA, where players like Steph Curry or LeBron James regularly share their workouts without controversy. In contrast, the WNBA's reaction made it seem like it had something to hide. This double standard infuriated fans who argued that women's sports deserve the same openness and trust as their male counterparts. By trying to suppress a simple video, the WNBA ended up creating a narrative it couldn't control. The leak, the silence, and the outrage all merged into a symbol of a larger cultural problem, a league that still doesn't fully trust its own stars. And in Caitlin Clark's case, that distrust might be the biggest mistake of all. Because the moment the league tried to silence her, the entire world started paying attention. What began as a harmless practice clip turned into a firestorm that exposed the WNBA's deepest insecurities. Instead of calming the storm, the league's attempt to bury Caitlin Clark's leaked footage only fueled suspicion, frustration, and public backlash. Fans saw the silence as control, not protection. And the controversy became a mirror reflecting how far the league still has to go in trusting its stars. Whether this was a simple misunderstanding or a calculated decision, one thing is clear. The harder the WNBA tries to manage Caitlin Clark's image, the more unstoppable her truth becomes.